Welcome back to Arise News Hour. I'm Charles Aniagolu. Now let's talk about something very dear to our hearts here on Arise News, mentoring. As you may know, by just giving a few hours of your time a month as a mentor, you can make a real difference, helping many people struggling to find their way in society and inspiring many others to greater heights of achievement. Well, now, a mentoring organization has turned the focus on trying to improve the quality of mentors themselves by essentially providing mentoring for mentors. MM212 is structured along the same principles as Mastermind, where each mentoring cell, made up of about 10 mentors, will be encouraged and supported to establish their own cell, which will in turn become the catalyst for more cells. So basically, in a year, they could potentially mobilize 100,000 mentors, and within 6 years, possibly as many as 1 million highly motivated, highly skilled mentors. Well, let's talk now in the studio to the men behind the idea of mentoring mentors, the head of MM212, Nnamdi Chukwu, and with him, Jonathan Pfahl, who heads the Rockstar Group, a firm that's come up with an app that offers mentors a global platform to deliver their valuable skills. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. A very interesting and attractive initiative, Nnamdi. Tell us more about why you've come up with this idea.
Well, the reason is simple, is to try to promote the value of mentoring globally. I've benefited from it. I've been in mentoring for over 20 years. I headed the BT mentoring package when I was director of BT's Ethnic Minority Network, and saw firsthand the value of mentoring within the corporate space. So I know it works. It can elevate people, it can encourage people, promote people. So what was missing in that equation for me was there was nowhere I knew of where actually mentors themselves could acquire the skill set required to deliver effective mentoring. Just because you're a great footballer doesn't mean you'll translate to a great coach. Just because you're a great business person doesn't mean you'll translate to a great mentor. And that's the crux of the matter.
And of course, he's a very persuasive speaker, isn't he, Jonathan? He obviously convinced you to come on board.
He did. But to be fair, it wasn't much of an arm twist. I mean, we've been mentoring now for over 10 years. 8,500 businesses we've worked and supported. And the whole purpose of putting it onto an app was to be able to internationalize and give a real great amount of free value to people all over the world, who then, if they want to book one-to-one time with the different mentors, they can. And
Nnamdi, we're going to talk more to you about all this, but just tell us a bit about that app and how it's actually going to work.
Sure. Well, it's already live, over 50,000 people on it already. What I've done is I've interviewed, a bit like this actually, all of the different mentors, and we have some pretty famous people, mainly from the UK, but also quite a few in Australia, China, and the US. They've all started, built up and sold companies for large sums, and I've asked them all the same different questions, which is basically, how do you turn the idea all the way up to sales, marketing, raising money, and then selling it on for a large sum? But they've all done it in different sectors. So the user, for free, they can say, I want to get mentored. It says, what sector are they in? So they choose, that's how I'm in the retail sector, or I'm in professional services. Then it says, what do you want advice in right now? And they can choose any of the sectors. So if someone says, I'm in the retail sector, I really need help with sales, then out of the hundreds of hours and all the different mentors, the only content that comes up are all and only all the men and women who have made a name for themselves in retail, giving them the free advice via video on sales right there.
Right, that sounds very interesting. Now, and of course, the mentoring MM212 idea, Nnamdi, is based on the principle of Mastermind peer-to-peer monitoring.
Sure.
Explain what that means to us, because it sounds heady.
Okay, well, very simply, the Mastermind concept is quite an old established one, especially within the corporate world. And it essentially hinges on peer-to-peer mentoring. So that's people of a similar peer group actually encouraging, supporting each other to achieve their goals.
Right.
Now, the difference here is I've taken that initial concept and developed it slightly. So within that concept of peer-to-peer, we now add what I call the catalyst, or the extra person who is the seasoned person who then directs, promotes, supports that 10 to achieve their goals, and speeds up the process. So the catalyst catalytic process.
And is it fair to say that that catalyst would be yourself? Because, of course, you've done a lot of mentoring. I mean, going back to, you know, heading that communications giant, British Telecom's mentoring program 20 years ago.
Absolutely. So what this is, I call it the Founding 10. The Founding 10, at the end of this process, I would have achieved a well-resourced 10 who will then go on to found their own cells. So 10 becomes 100 within a year. 100 becomes 1,000, 1,000 becomes 100,000, sorry, 10,000, 10,000 becomes 100,000.
Right.
So with that exponential growth, within a period of 6 years, we should have 1 million well-rehearsed, well-equipped, well-resourced people who are not just people who want to make a difference. That's why it's 212, because you have to want to make a difference.
And of course, this goes across the board, doesn't it? I mean, it's all businesses, all sort of areas.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely.
So it is fair to say that in a growing multi-ethnic society like the UK, this is likely to support greater diversity and inclusivity, isn't it?
Absolutely right, yes. And what I like about the model and why we're involved with it, and our Rockstar app, of course, will be the core platform for people to be engaged with it, is the 10 get to choose their 10.
Yes.
And so they know through their own personal network who they need and who they want, and that will create a very nice and diverse, as you say, group of mentors. So it's exciting.
Sure.
So briefly, because we're almost out of time, when are you planning to launch this MM212
We
initiative?
are looking to launch in December. We are dependent on our sponsors.
Your app experts.
Rockstar Group. We're hoping to facilitate the launch at their premises at the Shard, and we're in conversations. But we're looking, the target date is December. So early December.
I have to say the Shard has some marvelous restaurants. I mean, I'm sorry, we're talking mentoring, but I had to bring that one in. I've been there a few times.
Charles, you're invited, by the way.
Well, as long as we go up to the restaurant, that's fine.
we're invited to the lunch.
But listen, I want to say thank you very much indeed. Nnamdi Chukwu, the head of MM212, and of course, Jonathan Pfahl, who heads the Rockstar Group. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.